Hi Lightwire, I'm Gianluigi. I'm here at Just Music store in Berlin in the Gibson room on the Gibson couch with Flemming Rasmussen, the most acclaimed Metallica's producer. Hi Flemming, how are you doing?
Hi Gianluigi.
Right. Flemming, 30 years, Ride the Lightning. How did you met the band?
Well, it was actually pretty funny because they contacted me. A lot of people think that because Lars is from Denmark, I knew him and we were all friends. But the fact of the matter is that when we did Ride the Lightning, I'd never even heard of the band. I mean, Kill 'Em All, I had no idea it ever was released. And they had they'd done Kill 'Em All in New York, and it cost them so and so money. And they found out that because the dollar was so strong in those days, that they could get twice the studio time in Europe for the same amount of money as they were paying for a studio in the States. So what they did was they checked out a lot of different albums they really liked, and they came across Difficult to Cure with Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, which I'd done.
Right.
And I think especially James liked the guitar sound on that, and I guess Lars liked the drum sound. So they simply contacted me. I got a phone call and said, "Yeah, well, this band from America, and I'm Danish. Yeah, blah blah blah. Would you do it? Yeah, sure."
Okay.
So that was it. I heard nothing about them at all.
All right. And at the beginning of the studio, when they came in the studio in Copenhagen, not everybody really trusted them. At the beginning, people were kind of skeptical, or.
Oh yes, very. I mean, what happened was that a week before they started in the studio, they were touring Europe to make money to pay for the studio, and they got a lot of their equipment stolen.
Oh, right.
Amongst other things, James's guitar amp,
okay.
which of course was a Marshall, but had been modified,
Right.
and nobody knew what had been done to it.
All right.
So actually what we did was we listened a lot to Kill 'Em All because he liked the guitar tone on that. And I got every Danish metal band there was, I got them to come into the studio with their Marshall amps.
Right.
And we had 9 amps and 12 cabinets, and we tested them all and just used the best combination. And we tried to recreate the guitar sound that was on Kill 'Em All. But I mean, I wanted to I didn't like that sound, so it was cool, but I thought I could do better, and that's kind of where we took off from.
And that's the way how basically they were working in the studio. They just came with a pre-recorded demo and done demo, or.
Metallica has always done really good demos. In those days, they were rehearsing in Lars's garage, and they had these really good demos with most of the songs done. I think 1 or 2 songs was actually finished in the studio, but apart from that, all the other songs was ready to cut. And to get back to what you asked before, true. The studio I worked in was built by a guy who'd done a lot of jazz recordings.
Okay.
And at one point during the Metallica session, he came and went like this, said, "Hey, Flemming, they can't play."
Oh, God.
I went, "Yes, but listen to the energy, isn't it great?"
Yeah.
And they didn't understand it. I loved it from day one. I thought they were brilliant.
Yeah, I think you were pretty right. So at that point. And then it was after a couple of years the decision to do Master of Puppets. So basically the same setup, or what?
No, actually what happened was that they wanted to do Master of Puppets in the States because they'd settled in San Francisco, and they wanted to be more at home, and they knew it was going to take some time to do Master of Puppets. So me and Lars took a 2 weeks trip around Los Angeles checking out studios. And we didn't really find anything that had the same quality that the old Sweet Silence had. But I mean, ultimately it was their decision. I was ready to go to the States, but they decided on doing Master of Puppets in Sweet Silence as well.
Okay.
And I was happy because it was my home.
And now Master of Puppets is considered the best heavy metal records ever.
Yeah, that's because we started the session each day with, they came to my house.
Right.
And my beautiful wife, who sits right here, had made dinner for all of us. So we started it was like a family vibe on that. So we were all together eating, and then we all went to the studio, and then because we did night shift, so we started at 7 in the evening.
All right.
And we didn't finish till like 5, 6 in the morning.
And how many months took to record Master of Puppets?
It took 3.5 months, I think. We did the last overdubs in between Christmas and New Year because everybody else had gone home for Christmas except Lars.
All right.
He was celebrating Christmas in Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, yeah.
And he had to get back to San Francisco for New Year because they had a gig on New Year's Eve. So we did the last drum dubs on like the 28th of December, then he flew back to San Francisco.
Great.
And we started like September or something.
So the question also, I spoke to Lars like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was asking him, when you were recording Master of Puppets, did you realize that you were doing like such a record? Or was like, okay, we're doing another record in that set? Or did you realize it was becoming so massive, so important during the making of this record? Did you have that feeling?
Yes, I kind of think everybody did.
All right.
Because we kind of knew each other from doing Ride the Lightning, and it was like a big collaboration. We were all trying to get this to work as good as possible, and I think everybody was kind of, in their top game. Everybody was performing really, really well to get this to be really, really good. So yeah, it was. I definitely had a feeling that this was gonna be huge.
Great. And then Injustice for All, the last record you did with the band actually.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't have time to do that album. They wanted to start in the beginning, January 3rd. They already booked the studio in North Hollywood, 1-on-1. And I had to tell him I can't. I have other sessions, which is later known as Pregnant Danish folk singer.
All right.
And then they started with Mike Klink, who'd done Appetite for Destruction with Guns N' Roses.
I heard of that.
Yeah, and then like 3 weeks into January, I got a phone call late at night, and it was Lars, and he just said, "Hi, Flemming, it's Lars. When can you come?"
Okay.
And he started telling. They'd been in the studio at that point for like 3 weeks, and they'd done absolutely nothing.
Okay.
They were still trying to get guitar sounds.
All right.
It had gotten to a point where James had hired somebody else to play his guitar, and he'd come in at night and test what it sounded like, and it was horrible.
Because there was a major change in the guitar sound that time. They used different amplifiers.
They used different amplifiers on all albums.
All right.
Because they started out on Marshalls on Master of Puppets, and then they had gotten Mesa Boogies, which was like the brand new model at the time with a little graphic equalizer. I can't for the love of me remember what it's called. And then for Injustice for All, they got new boogies again. So.
All right.
But it was another album. It should sound different. It was another approach. So that's why the guitar sound is different. I actually had an EQ hooked up in the control room through because the amps were in the control room, so I could sit and change the EQ on the amp.
And the drum sounds pretty different from the other records. Yeah. It was a totally new dimension for the drum sound.
That's probably also due to the mixing of it. It was mixed really dry, but of course it was recorded like that as well. But as I was originally not supposed to do the album, they'd already, when I got Who signed on, they already hired the guys to mix it.
All right.
The guys who mixes with a lot of bass, right?
Okay, Flemming, now I got all the records here with me, and like, can you pick one of those records, one of your if there's a favorite record that you've done with the band?
It's gotta be this.
Yeah.
This.
Okay.
We kind of took what we started on Ride the Lightning and perfected it on this.
Yeah.
I mean, for like a thrash metal album, with that 80s big huge sound guitars and everything, this is as far as it goes. This is perfect.
I think James said in one of his interviews, he said that Ride the Lightning was his favorite record.
Really?
Ride the Lightning, yeah. One of his interviews, he said Ride the Lightning.
Strange, but
and,
there you go.
It's really personal for me.
It's a really close toss up. I like them all three, and I mean, but if I have to favor one, it's got to be
Master of Puppets. It's the best heavy
It's
metal
also
record.
because there's one song on this, Escape is maybe blah blah on Ride the Lightning, that kind of pulls that one down. But it has got one of the best songs they've ever done. I mean, Creeping Death and For Whom the Bell Tolls are in my top 3 of best Metallica songs.
Flemming, looking forward to have you in Berlin to do some hard rock and rock bands in town, and we want to have like Sweet Silence, also your productions here in town.
You have my number, just call me.
All right, great.